All right, hello and welcome back, my friends. It's Doc, your favorite neighborhood community psychologist. I am back with another reaction video. For those of you who have been on my channel, thank you for coming back. I've done, if you've been around a little bit, several reactions on learning how to play cricket, and one of the viewers recommended learning how to or reacting to how to play rugby. I thought that was a great idea. This is a sport that we play a little bit more here in the United States than we do cricket, especially at the collegiate level. I don't know that there are any professional rugby teams or leagues in the United States, but rugby certainly, there are pickup games, in larger cities and things like that. And I know again at the collegiate level, it can be quite competitive. I've never watched a match before. The only thing I know about rugby is I understand what the ball looks like. It looks very similar to an American football ball. I don't know how many players are in a team. I don't know what their responsibilities or their roles are. I don't know how many points you get for. I'm guessing you get the try to get that ball across some type of a goal line like we would in American football. But how many points you get for that, when it's appropriate to kick or to throw the ball, what are the rules for tackling and things like that, I have no idea. So I think this is a great idea. So thank you to those of you who do watch my videos and give me recommendations. But again, if you are new here, as I said, I have done many reactions to learning how to play cricket. So make sure that you subscribe, click the link below to, I'll put a link in the description to maybe either the playlist or some individual videos that reactions that I've done to cricket. But they've all been doing really, really well, considering the number of subscribers that I do, or more likely do not have at this point. But thank you, all of you who have been watching those cricket reactions as I learned that game. You have shared so much information with me, and I'm learning so much. I really appreciate it. I am going to continue with the cricket reactions, but some of the ones I've done before are the physics and ball movement, what are the rules, what are the fielding positions, and bowling grips, right? How do you hold the ball when you're bowling? They've been extremely helpful, and again, those of you who have commented and helped me learn this game and made suggestions on videos to watch and topics and things, I really appreciate it. So look for more cricket stuff to come soon. But again, as I said, while you're here, make sure you like this video so that so that I know that I should keep doing more of this. I'm going to keep learning on my own, whether I react and record them or not, just because I really enjoy this. But again, make sure that you hit the subscribe and the notification bell, and yeah, that just lets me know that that you would like to see more of these things. But let's get on to more of the topic of the day, and that is, again, I'm going to learn for the first time, watch anything about understanding how the game of rugby is played. Now, I picked this one. It comes from James Haskell, who I don't know, but from what I understand, I watched like the first maybe 20 seconds of this is all. But I think that this person may be, James Haskell, may be a former player. Whether amateur, collegiate, or professional, I don't know. But his video, it's a few years old. The title of it is Beginner's Guide to Rugby, How to Play Rugby. So make sure that I will put a link to this original video of James Haskell down in the description. So go over there and learn more about his stuff and see what what he has going on. And this one is a little bit longer. By the time I pause and try to learn a couple of times, this 20-minute video may turn into 30 minutes or so. So I think what I'm going to do is divide it into a couple of different videos, just to shorten the length for you a little bit, so you don't feel like you need to sit here for 30 minutes at a time and watch this. So anyway, let's just continue. We will make this part one. I'm sure that somewhere around halfway through this, I'll stop, and then we'll make the other half a part two to this. But let's go ahead and let's see what James has to say about learning the game of rugby.
Hi, I'm James Haskell and welcome to my beginner's guide to rugby. With 2015 being such a huge year for British rugby, I've noticed an influx in people wanting to understand what is seemingly a complex sport, which actually, when broken down, is not as confusing as you might think. I'm here to take you through everything, from the history of the game, the players, their positions on the field, the playing of the game, scoring, match officials, and much more. So let's get started.
I'm already seeing some crazy stuff. I think I'm going to enjoy this.
The history of rugby has always been something of a legend. It is believed that in 1823, a young boy by the name of William Webb Ellis, at a game of school football, picked up the ball and started running toward the opposition's goal line. It was at this moment the sport was born. Although this story was never officially told until after William's death, he is recognised as the founder of rugby, and a statue was erected in his honour in the town of Rugby in 1997.
1823, I think he said. That makes this a relatively new game.
Accessible sport. As a result, in 2003, a set of core values were developed to enable people to understand the character of the game and what makes it different to other sports. The core values identified were integrity, passion, solidarity, discipline, and respect. Rugby kit for players is pretty simple. Let's start at the bottom and work our way up. Rugby boots differ slightly from football boots in that they have better toe protection, higher ankle support, and for those using screw-in studs as opposed to moulded blades, you have the option to increase the length of your studs slightly for better traction, depending on the position.
So they have specialized
Moving up,
footwear.
we have knee-length socks. Like football, shin pads can be worn. However, it is less common and certainly not mandatory as part of the game. We move up to the shorts and onto the shirt. Nothing special to really tell you here. What you might be surprised to know is that there is actually body protection available to rugby players that goes under the shirt. Depending on things like the position you play, or maybe if you're carrying a slight injury, you may choose to wear this. We then come to the gum shield, and this is probably one of the most essential pieces
tell us what. Why does he not tell us what those things are?
Constantly, clashing heads with one another, tackling others, all put you at risk of getting a knock to the face. So having a good quality gum shield is absolutely essential. And finally, we come to the Scrum Cap. Now, being such a physical sport, you're constantly taking knocks on your head and are asked to put your head in difficult contact areas. So a Scrum Cap offers you some protection from this, as well as protecting you against the dreaded cauliflower ears. So let's have a look at who's on the team and how the formation works. A rugby union team is comprised of 23 players, 15 on the field and 8 subs. One thing that is unique about rugby is that it takes all shapes and sizes to make up a team, and often this will help determine the position you play within the team. The 15 players can be split into 2 categories, the forwards and the backs. Numbers 1 through to 8 are the forwards, and 9 through to 15 are the backs.
I'm going to pause and take a look at. Hold on, I'm going to back up and look at that real quick. Okay, so I think he said there's 23 players, 15 are on the field, and then 8 substitutes. I think he had said.
2 categories, the forwards and the backs. Numbers 1.
Okay, let's take a look. Okay, so I would guess here that these in this formation that these individuals or these players are moving like forward, like towards the top of the screen here. So we got the ones on the forward here, and then in the backfield. It looks like the size of the field is the same as a football field, very similar to it. So let's maybe we'll get to that later. Okay, so he's got at least in this example 8 up here. And then the remaining 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in the back. Okay. I'm guessing that this is probably just a defensive strategy, not
3 to 8 are the forwards,
necessarily a requirement.
And 9 through to 15 are the backs. Each number represents a unique position within the field. So let's have a look at those positions. We'll start with numbers 1 and 3. Players wearing these shirts are known as props. Their primary role is to anchor the scrummage and provide lifting strength and support for the line-out jumpers. They are also...
Okay, hold on. So he didn't make that real clear, and maybe he'll get back to it. So your actual number on the jersey is an indication of your position and the roles that you play within the team and in the game. That's unique. I've never heard of that in a sport before. Is that true? Let me know in the comments. Is that true? So one player, one game might have a number 2, and then if he plays a different position, then in the following game he might be wearing a number 7. That would make it difficult to buy your favorite team's favorite player's jersey, right? I'm wearing a jersey right here, and it's got one of my favorite players on it and his number, but that's the number that he wears all the time. So that would be a little bit odd.
Pivotal in rucks and mauls. As a prop, you need upper body strength to provide stability in the scrum, endurance, mobility, and safe hands to maintain continuity of play. The number 2 is known as the hooker. These guys have 2 very unique roles on the field. The first as the player who wins possession in the scrummage, and the second as the player who usually throws the ball into the line-out. In this position, great strength is needed to withstand the physicality of the front row, coupled with the speed to get around the pitch and a good throwing technique. Numbers 4 and 5 are the locks. It's the lock's job to win the ball from line-outs and restarts, to drive forward momentum in the scrum, rucks and mauls, providing a platform for...
To win the ball in the lineout. Yeah, see, I'm going to have to learn more of this too, because terms like lineout, I'm not sure what that means. Okay, in the second row, 4 and 5. Okay, so that is a defensive position. If we, I won't go all the way back there, but in this example, Where was that? It looks like that maybe that is a little bit of a standard lineup or setting defensive positions. And then, okay, key players in this set piece, scrum, and line out. Yeah, I'm going to have to learn maybe if he doesn't explain them a little bit better. What is a set piece, a scrum, and a line out?
For attack. The key characteristic for these players is height. The locks are the giants of the team and combine their physicality and mobility. Numbers 6 and 7 are your flankers. Their key objective is to win possession through turnovers, using physicality in the tackle and speed to the breakdown. These guys have no fear in their approach to winning the ball when going into a tackle. A combination of speed, strength, endurance and handling is essential to play in this position. Finally, for the forwards, we have what is known as the number 8. Number 8 must secure possession at the base of the scrum, carry the ball in open play, provide the link between the forwards and backs in attacking phases and defend aggressively. They must have power and pace over short distances to be able to gain territory and field position for a quick release to the backs.
Yeah, that's... I'm not...
Now let's move on to the backs.
What I see...
Starting with the number 9, we have...
When I see the footage, there's no way I would be able to identify what all of these players are doing. And I assume that that's probably very similar to somebody watching an American football game that is not familiar with that game. I'm not even familiar with all of those positions and the responsibilities of specific positions, position players in American football. Well, I wish we could see a little bit more X's and O's and specific examples of what all of these are doing. This is a good introduction, but certainly by no means am I fully understanding what each of these players does.
Scrum half. Their role is to provide the link between forwards and backs
Scrum
at the
half.
scrum and lineouts. A true decision maker, the scrum half will judge whether to distribute a quick ball to the backs or keep it close to the forwards. It is a multifaceted position. Scrum half must be powerful, have explosive speed, all-round handling and kicking skills. A great scrum half is often a highly confident player with excellent game understanding. Our number 10 is the fly half. This crucial player orchestrates the team's performance. They receive the ball from the scrum half and will choose to kick, pass or make a break based upon a split-second interpretation.
Very clearly under pressure. Okay. Fly half.
The phase of play. It's essential they have the ability to kick well out of hand, ideally off either foot. They also must have great handling skills, pace, vision.
See, when is it appropriate and legal to kick? Are there certain position players that are allowed to
They're
kick?
on the pitch to provide an injection of pace needed to outrun an opponent and score a try, as well as being solid in defence. Wings will often find themselves in open space, and their priority is to press forward at speed and run for the line. Strength and good handling skills are a big advantage here, but speed is the key to success. Next we have the 12 and 13, and they are known as your centres. They are key in both defence and attack. In defence, they will attempt to tackle any attacking players, and whilst in attack, they will use their speed, power, creative flair to breach defences. The modern day centre is lean, strong and extremely quick. The position demands great attacking prowess, coupled with an intensity in contact to either retain or steal possession. And finally, we have our number 15, or fullback. This is your last line of defence. The fullback must be confident under a high ball, have a good boot to clear the lines, and not be intimidated by the physicality required to make try-saving tackles. A fullback must have great handling skills, pace in attack, and power in defence. They need the ability to join the line at pace to create an overlap and provide try-scoring opportunities for the wingers. It is very much a tactical role with bursts of flair throughout the game. With the team completed, you can see the number of different positions and roles available within the rugby team. There is literally something
Some of those
for
boys
everybody,
are big.
and each
Wow.
role has its own set of core attributes that contribute to making up a successful rugby team. So we've looked at the history of rugby, we've taken a quick look at the kit you need to play, and we've identified the different roles within the team. Now let's look at how the game is played. There are a few terms you will want to familiarise yourself with when understanding the game of rugby.
This is what I'm looking
Before
for.
we do that, let's have a look at the rugby field itself. A rugby field is typically between 94 and 100 metres in length, from goal line to goal line. Beyond the goal line, at each end,
Hold on,
let's have a
sorry,
look
I
at
just
the
want to
rugby
make sure I
field
get
itself.
this
A
down.
rugby field is
So 94 to 100 meters. An American football field is 100 yards. I'm going to pause real quick. I want to check something out. Hold on. Okay, I just wanted to check real quick, and this is about what I was expecting. So there is a little bit of a difference between a yard and a meter. So a 100-yard American football field would equals about 91 meters, which is just a little bit shorter than this rugby field. So it appears that the rugby field is just a little bit bigger, maybe 10% bigger than an American football field. Okay, I just wanted to get the context for myself.
Typically between 94 and 100 meters in length.
But it's not a standard
Beyond
size?
the goal line, at each end, we have the try-scoring areas, which range from 10 to 22 meters in depth. A full rugby pitch is typically 68 to 70 meters in width. The line running down either side of the pitch is known as the touch line.
So just calling the field is called a pitch.
Working from the centre, we have the halfway line, the 10-metre line, the 22-metre line, and various other markings such as the 5 and 15-metre line, which are used in plays such as scrums and line-outs. Now we're familiar with the pitch, let's take a look at how we play the game. We'll start with a kick-off. Each half of the match is started with a drop kick from the centre of the halfway line. The non-kicking team must be 10 metres back from the ball when it is kicked, and the kick must travel 10 metres towards the opposition goal line before hitting the ground.
Okay, hold on. Let's take a look at that real quick. We're just going to go a couple more minutes, I think, on this, and then we'll break it off into the second part here in just a moment. Okay, so the kickoff. Every half starts with a kickoff. It has to be a drop kick, all right, so it's not placed on the ground or in a tee. Team receiving needs to be 10 meters back. Okay, that's similar to American football rules under certain circumstances.
The kicking team must be 10 metres back from the ball when it is kicked, and the kick must travel 10 metres towards the opposition goal line before hitting the ground. From here, the game moves into open play. The term open play refers to any phase in the match where the ball is being passed or kicked between teammates and both teams are contesting for the ball. In open play, the team in possession tries to get the ball to players in space who can make forward progression towards the opposing goal line.
All right, yeah, this is what I like.
Alongside running toward the opposition's goal line, there are two main techniques to put the ball into open space: passing and kicking. We'll start with passing. As many people find this part a little confusing, a player may pass or throw the ball to a teammate who is in a better position to continue the attack. It must travel either directly across the field or passing the ball backwards to advance forwards. If a forward pass is made, the referee will stop the game and award a scrum, with the throw-in going to the team which was not in possession at the time of the pass. In this way, a forward pass is punished by that team losing possession of the ball, but we will look at that more when we focus on scrums.
Oh, very cool.
The second method is kicking. A player may kick the ball instead of passing, and the ball can travel forwards. But any teammates in front of the ball at the moment the ball is kicked are out of play until either they retire behind the kicker or are played onside by a teammate. Retaining the ball after kicking can be challenging, so there are three main strategies when kicking the ball. The first is kicking into space, so that teammates have time to run onto the ball before an opponent can get to it. The second is kicking out wide at an oblique angle to the field, so that the wing or outside centre can catch the ball. We call this a cross-field kick. The third is kicking the ball to touch or off the field of play, resulting in a line-out, with the throw-in going to the opposition. We'll look more at line-outs later.
Okay.
What's important is that although this concedes possession of the ball, it allows the kicking team to contest the ball in a much more advantageous position on the field, closer to the try line of their opposition.
Okay, I'm going to stop part one here, and I'll pick it up and finish the remaining 10 minutes or so of this on part two. Okay, so that did make it a lot more clear as far as throwing the ball, and much like American football, the quarterback can throw the ball forward, but and the other players, they can also throw the ball. It does not happen often, but they can throw it backwards, and I believe that term is called a lateral, right? So in American football, while the play is going on and somebody is about to get tackled, if they can throw the ball backwards behind them and do a lateral to continue play. Again, that does not happen very often, but that is really good to know. And the three different ways of kicking, I think he explained those fairly well. It's interesting that only players that are behind, I think he said, behind the ball or behind the kicker at the time it's kicked, are eligible to then go and attempt to get possession of the ball. So no, I'm liking this. I think he's explaining it fairly well. I'm definitely more intrigued, but I think he's doing a really good job. Yeah, so let's go ahead and we'll cut out part one here, and we'll pick it up with the remaining of this on part two. And I think at the end of that one, I'll go through some of these comments that people have made as well. So, yep, I'm going to go ahead and do a pause right here, and we'll come back in just a moment with part two. Thank you for watching this video, and be sure to leave a comment with your thoughts and what reaction topics you would like to see from this psychologist. This video was brought to you by Research Learning Center, where I help students with their research so they can graduate sooner. If you would like to complete your thesis or dissertation and graduate sooner, be sure to check out my online courses to learn everything from developing a research topic to becoming a better academic writer, conducting your analyses, and even defending your work with your committee. Be sure to check the description for a link to my free Introduction to SPSS course, which includes nearly 4 hours of step-by-step lectures, homework assignments, quizzes, and dozens of downloadable resources.